He's fine. Well, you know, he's got different problems, but he's doing well on the whole. Really nice guy. Works at Google. Very successful. And also we had a student, and a good friend of mine died while I was a student here, and so that was very, very difficult. And I think in some ways that was the beginning of my writing career. I'd always been a really poor student, particularly when I was here. I was an exceptionally poor student. But I had teachers who believed in me and who didn't give up on me, even when I showed absolutely no promise. And because of that, I was lucky enough to have the opportunities that I've had since. So when I was first doing that, like when I was first thinking about, when I was 16, when that young woman died, and it's really, really difficult to understand death when you're 16. It's also really, really difficult to understand death when you're 34, or what it means how devastating it is to lose someone, and how devastating it is even to lose someone out of your community. So many of you are Nerdfighters, which are people who fight to decrease world suck and stuff. And it's a very tight-knit community, an internet-based community that does a lot of cool things. And you know, we lost a young woman named Esther Earl. She died of cancer in 2010. And even though this is this big, broad internet community where people don't physically know each other, you know, a lot of us were devastated by that. And it was really, really difficult those first months afterwards in particular, but still. And I wanted to think about, I mean, partly because I knew Esther so well, and she was a friend of mine, and I cared about her so much, and I couldn't believe the injustice of her being taken from a world that she really liked living in at the age of 16, and partly because of the loss I'd experienced as a teenager, and partly because I'd worked as a student chaplain at a children's hospital. All of these things came together finally and into The Fault in Our Stars, a story that I was trying to write because I desperately wanted to understand whether it's possible to have a good life, even if it's a short life. You know, to have a well-lived life, even if it's a short life. And that's a difficult question, because most of like the good lives we think of, you know, involve either massive heroic sacrifice in the form of, like, you know, jumping on a grenade to save your buddies or something, or long lives. You know, like my grandfather just died at the age of 92, and he lived most of his life here in Birmingham. And when we were at his funeral, over and over again, people told us, your papa lived such a good, long, full life. And that's true. That's a lot harder to say of someone like Esther, who died at 16 and who suffered tremendously in those years. And so that's really why I wrote The Fault in Our Stars, was I wanted to try to think about the fact that it is possible. It is possible to have a good life, even if you don't have a long life. And I wanted to think about what constitutes goodness, like what constitutes success in the world, like how are we supposed to order and prioritize the time that we have here in order to take care of each other and take care of ourselves in the best possible way. So that was kind of the core of the book. I'll answer a few questions until Hank is done. Will you tell me when Hank is done, by the way? Thank you.